Here at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis with defensive coordinator Kelvin Sheppard, entering your second year, what is the biggest thing you think you learned or you developed over the course of your first season as a defensive coordinator calling plays?
Yeah, I would say the biggest, probably the most important thing is finding my rhythm on game day. Learning the flow, because there's so many things that go on that people probably don't know, Tim. As you know, the communication, not just coach to player, but coach to coach. And leaning on your staff, understanding it's not you by yourself. It's not you versus that team. It's not you and the players. It's you, your coaches, you putting all this work, and listen to those guys, lean on them on game day. And I think when you do that, I've found and learned that these guys get so ingratiated into it, and they feel like they're calling it right there with you. And I think that's what we've built. I think that's what these guys feel. And, I'm very fortunate to have all these guys back with me.
I'm glad you mentioned the staff, because there is a lot of continuity with that defensive staff coming back. Just how important is that for you going into your second season? I know you talked about a little bit just with some of the changes you've made in the off season with how you're doing the cut-ups and stuff like that. But just to have that continuity with your staff, Shep, going into your second season, how important is that? How key is that to that progression on defense?
Oh, it means everything to me, to be honest, Tim, because I don't have to start over. It's kind of been years of, all right, we lost this coach, so we got to start over. We're going to change schematically here. Let's start over. And when you do that, you're not able, in my opinion, to go to that next level. When you talk about 500 levels in learning, 100 level, 200, 3. Well, I feel like now we're able to start off, especially with some of our core guys that we've gotten back, not just coaches, but players at the 200, 300 level. We're not telling guys where to line up and what your responsibility is. We're now telling them how you can execute that better, situational awareness, things like that. And, Tim, you probably know I had a few staffers with opportunities, man, and kind of nerved me up a bit, because it's like, I feel like we really have something special here. As overall organization, but as a defensive staff, the chemistry we have is no egos. All egos are left outside that door. And when we meet, I think everybody feels like they have a hand in it. And to be able to come in year two, guys already having ideas because they were just in it. And ways to improve, and not just me saying this. I tell them this is our scheme. So to be able to do this together going into year two, I'm very fortunate.
Guys had opportunities, but you also had an opportunity to interview for a head coaching job with Miami. Just talk me through that process. What did you learn? How does going through that maybe make you a little bit better?
Just first and foremost, I want to thank the entire Dolphins organization. Stephen Ross, Tom Garfinkel, Brandon Shore, Dan Marino, Sully, of course, man. Those are phenomenal people. They definitely have the right people in place to get that thing going. And I learned a lot. I learned that my philosophy in making sure you take pressure off the head coach is right. And now that's heightened even more. Everybody say they want to sit in these seats till you actually get the chance to or about to, and you feel that weight. You got to wear 100 hats, and it's what you sign up for. You're the CEO of a corporation, essentially, when you take on that role. I just told people before you even get to the football and studying for the opponent, it's so much that goes into it with roster management, staffing, support staff, making sure you're doing things right as far as practice, and all this being on you. And if it doesn't go right, it's on you. And if it goes well, you did, and that ownership, that you have over that. So just making sure now I've taken all that stuff in, and I just want to credit also people within our organization. This is stuff people don't know about, but the Rob Lomans of the world, Jesse, Anton, Dan, former coaches, to be honest, Ben, AG, these are all guys that reached out to me when they knew I got this opportunity. Just, anything I could do, and I leaned on them all. And they all helped me in a way to prepare.
Remind you that it's a brotherhood in the end, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You've been busy, you and your staff, and Dan, with the cut-ups the last 3 weeks. Dan talked about it here at the Combine, just how intense it's been. I'm curious from your perspective, one area from the cut-ups that you liked, one area that you're like, okay, this is something that we need to focus on, we need to get better at. So the one positive from the cut-ups, maybe the thing that kept showing up that, okay, I like this about this defense. Let's keep doing this. And then the flip side of that, what do you need to improve on?
Yep, I think something that we were able to do is the adjustability within the scheme. It's something we hadn't done before, and it really helped us this year. it almost was like the players, you heard them say, like, almost like they know the plays, but it wasn't, we necessarily knew the exact play that was coming. Some Connor Stallion stuff, but it was the fact it was formationally putting guys in optimal position per coverage, whether that be it 2x2, 3x1 slot empty. I don't think these guys started to get a hold of why we were actually checking the certain things and said, oh, if we can push the coverage here, I can cheat here, I can do things. So that's what you're talking about, continuity. Now just being able to start off. So I think the same look, presenting the same look to an offense, and then post-snap changing. So they're seeing the same thing in post-snap. The young quarterbacks really struggle with that. That's something I thought we did really well. And being the dictator on the field, as far as that's what the offense want to do. They want to have the pen last with the motions, the shifts, and being able to grab the pen back and saying, I have an answer for that.